Well, welcome back to me weekly yarns. Well, what have we been getting done this week? We've been getting some painting done, lots of cleaning done. We built a shed, moved a lot of components, and look at the space we've got in here now. Managed to get a lot of parts shifted. Still got some bits and pieces to go. Bits from the old gearbox and that can go across, and that'll happen tomorrow. And then tomorrow, 11 o'clock-ish, we're shifting sheep and lambs again, more. So, let's just have a look around and we'll see, we'll have a walk through what we've done this week, will we? There's my little lodger, she's just probably away for a quick feed there. She's sitting tight at the minute, sitting really tight. I will get a video of her, but I don't want to upset her. She's got to be really close to hatching. Right, let's crack on and see what we've getting done this week then, huh? Well, good morning. Tuesday morning. Raining a bit, but there again the ground needed it. We were desperate for it. Need the grass to come on. But what we're going to do today, well, we're going to put our shed up. We're going to put a new 6x8 shed up, standing over there. And we're going to get some bits and pieces transferred into it, create some space at home. Let's crack on. Right. So there we go. All we're going to do now, put the felt on. Deb's away to Maxwell's. I'm going to get her some spray contact adhesive. By the time she gets back, the bit of rain that's just came down will have dried up off that roof. We've only got half a roll, so we've got to get half the roof done. But there's plenty black plastic kicking about here that we will crack on, and we'll get it made watertight. But nice bench inside there that my son Barry made to fit this very shed. There you go, see, we've started getting parts in already. Parts there, parts there. What we've got in my bag. Right. We've got the beams off the axles. And my lifting frame that really isn't finished painted yet because there's still some bits of primer shining through on it. But I had some road planings, little bit of road planings left in the bucket from a job we were doing. So I put them on the floor, flatten them out, and there we go. Now to turn this into Shed City here. Get all our bits done. Right, we've got here the selector casting and the internals. As you can see, they've all had this has had a wire brush now. I'm not going to paint it, I've wire brushed it, I've given it a rub with an oily rag. This is the one that's not going to get used. This is going across today to the farm. It's going to go into storage with all its internals in the same box, so they can be all kept together in case we need any bits, or in the future we might decide to pass it on to someone else. So that's our selector casting and internals. So we're up at the farm here, just getting a message off Colin that he's sent the 3/8 UNC needle valve for the valve chest down for us, and I thought I better just put a glove on, get my hand into the bottom of there, because there's two like sumps in the bottom of there that are full of dirty old oil, and it was working. So I put my hand in, thinking that the needle valve might be there, but it wasn't. The needle valve's not there. But if we have a look in there, you see the block there that feeds oil to the valve chest, and you can see here this little pipe system, and that attaches to this screw, the one we had to loosen 9 turns to get off, and that fits into the side of the valve chest with this taper here mating on the side. And why they say if you turn this out too far, it disengages, it pulls the bolt out of this coupling here, this pipe connector. But anyway, down in there wasn't a needle valve. However, I'll tell you what there was. I've got all my parts in: gearbox casing, tombstone, clutch cover, PTO, flywheel, clutch, lots and lots of bits and pieces. But anyway, this is what I found. So we had 2 of these. They look as if they're out of the bottom of the valve chest somewhere. Through hole, obviously a screwdriver slot, one slightly longer than the other. I'll measure these up when I get home and I'll let you know what they are, but if anybody can tell me where they're from or what they're off, it'd be really helpful, please. Amazing what you find when you put your hand in some dirty little hole in it. The 2 little brass screws that we found, wait a minute, has it got a focus? Right, the 2 little brass screws were found in the bottom of the axle. The longest one is 0.468 long, 0.371 OD, right, nearly ½ an inch long, 376 diameter. Screwdriver slot through hole. That was found in the bottom of the axle in that oily little sump thing. The shorter one, can we say that? Wait a minute, let's have a... Is that going to focus there for you? The shorter one is 0.356 long, 0.366 OD, but it also has like a turned down section on the end, you see it, and that is 0.309 diameter, again through hole, found in the bottom of the axle in those little oily wells underneath the valve chest. If anybody has got any idea where they're from, please drop us a comment, send us an email if you cannot leave a comment, but please, if you've got any idea where these are from, let us know. Lovely. Right, in the post yesterday came a replacement needle valve, the 3/8 one this time. Again, as I said in the previous video, this was totally my fault. I gave Colin the wrong information. I told Colin this was a 7/16, and when it actually was a 3/8. As I said on the previous video as well, I'd actually cleaned the threads out that morning and I knew it was a 3/8. So I just don't understand why I would have told Colin that that was a 7/16, but never mind. Colin, thank you very much, mate. Very, very much appreciated that the effort for that. Great. Ram cylinder cover. Both been, I got a bath last time, but they've both been wire brush. This needs still a little bit of fettling off in here, but they've both been wire brushed. We're going to get them cleaned, painted. The castings will get primered, and then they'll go back to the farm for storage till the reassembly starts. Right, latch pin mechanism. I pulled all this, I'll move them for a minute. I pulled all this to bits the other day. I think you saw it last week on the yarn, but it didn't get a wash. So it's all had a wash now. The little pin with the tit on is like a keyway for the side of there, which stops your pin from rotating, obviously. Bleed screw. Now, with a nice clean hole through it, we can see daylight through that now. Now, on the drones, it shows you with the spring and a spacer and an O-ring. On the drones I missed the spacer, but I did see the O-ring because of obviously the second groove here. So I'm thinking to myself, where's the O-ring sit? Does the O-ring sit outside of here with the dust cover, which goes on there, trapping it, or does it sit on the inside of here, in which case I couldn't see it from inside. All I could see was metal, so I couldn't see the O-ring. And then I began to think, the previous owner's been in here as well, he's lost the O-ring, or the O-ring hasn't been replaced, and we're not sure where it goes. So Shane messaged this on last week's yarn, and he was on about the O-ring, the spacer, because he had damage to the dirt eliminator here. I had a little bit of damage here on the edge, and I've bumped it out a little bit, but Shane's damage was on here. And we started talking about the O-ring, and I asked him, does the O-ring go external or internal? And then Shane came back and went, spring, spacer, O-ring. And I'm then thinking to myself, I looked again at the parts diagram, saw the spacer, and then I'm thinking to myself, right, is it a possibility this is still stuck in the bore down here? So I've come out, had a look down the bore, and sure enough, there they are. Little spacer and O-ring. Pop a punch down the bore, gently tap them out. So there we go. So thank you very much for that, Shane. Much obliged. So internally, it's nice and clean. I've had a look in the bore. Right, there isn't any, can we say down there? There's no obvious scratches or dings or anything down in there. Not so bad. Everything else is looking really good on this at the minute. So again, what we'll do is I've had an oily rag down there once I got a bath. I went in with an oily rag just to make sure that the cylinder surface wasn't going to start and corrode on us while we were sitting about waiting. So everything, after it's primed, again, all the internals, the bare metal, will get wiped with an oily rag before it's put away into storage. Right, and then we've got nice clean bleed screw. There we go, we can see daylight through that now, but I'll pop another drill through that just to make sure that it's absolutely clean. So this will get all sorted out. It'll all get put into primer. The internals will get a wipe with an oily rag, and it will go to the farm until we need it for building. We're getting very close to starting putting this back together. The big issue I'm going to have, of course, is putting it back together. The space is where I can build it up, because we really need somewhere with a nice smooth concrete floor so we can move the engine crane and the components around. I might still have to build a frame yet for it, we'll see, but the steel's £250 for a framework. I've got the casters there. As I say, the channel bar that I'm looking at to build a 2x1 frame that this can all sit on while it's being put back together is about £250, £280 the last time I looked. God knows what it is now, obviously with all the problems that we're having in the world with world prices. So, ram cylinder's done. My 1/8 balls turned up, and I had some quarter balls left, so I've got some new quarter balls that'll go down in here underneath my bleed screw, and I've got some 8 balls that will fit into the valve chest when we come to reassemble the valve chest. So as I say, then 1/8 balls, I think they were £2.30 odd for a pack of 10, 316 stainless, and the quarter balls were about £3.50 for a pack of 10, and I had to buy them. Which one did I lose now? I lost the detent, didn't I, for the PTO? At least I thought I had, and then it was picked up underneath a magnetic tray, wasn't it? And we got it back. Right, so there we go. So I've got the rock shaft primered there. We've got the little box that comes off the front of the valve chest all primered up. The dust eliminator, we've got the cylinder and the cover. Now the cylinder and the cover, because I've got the cover masked off underneath here. It's just got painted this morning. Yeah, it's all masked off underneath. The cylinder's the same. I'm going to leave them with the tape on, masking tape on, and the card plugs that I've got in the holes. I'm just going to leave them all in till I decide whether I'm going to paint them chocolate or whether they're going to get assembled like that and painted as a unit. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. So finally got them all done. I got relegated out onto the driveway to do the wire brushing on them. So then that's them done. They can go back to the farm tomorrow, out the way, and they'll be put in storage till we need them. We're getting pretty close to this build now. Shouldn't be that far away with it. Right, well, I think that's about it then for this week. I think that's all we've got. Hopefully next week we can get back on track. We can get across the farm. We'll get that axle casing done. We need to strip out the pipework from the old one. I need to strip out the new one and get the new one cleaned, ready for the pipework from the old one. But hopefully we'll get it all videoed next week and we'll catch up, because we had to do the shed this week. We had other jobs to do as well, and hopefully we're back on track next week. Right, well, thanks for visiting, and we'll see you next week. Bye now.